It's not often that Apple releases a new product that genuinely feels important, and I think the iPhone Air is one of those moments. We're coming off an 8-year streak where, frankly, it felt like the days of an actually interesting iPhone were behind us at this point. Since 2018, we've been getting a new version of the same thing, iteration after iteration, one that might look a bit different or run a bit faster, but never anything that would make you stop and feel curious again. I think all of that changes with the iPhone Air. It has a design that looks impossible. It's packed with the most change we've seen in decades, and it does all of this while competing at a pro level. See, I don't think the iPhone Air is just the future of the iPhone. I think this is the future for everything at Apple. Let me explain. When Apple unveiled the original iPhone almost 20 years ago in 2007, Steve Jobs said something at the very end of the announcement that feels extremely relevant right now. Just as Steve is about to exit the stage, he reads one of his favorite quotes by Wayne Gretzky, saying, "I skate to where the puck is going to be, not where it has been." Probably something you've heard before, and something that Steve mentions has always been his goal for Apple. And this was true for some time. Back to back, Apple released the iPhone and then the iPad and the Apple Watch and AirPods and the iPhone X. But as far as everything else, it started to feel like the products didn't have as much soul as they once did. So when I saw Apple announce the iPhone Air 18 years after the original model, it felt like they were reaching for something again. The design of the iPhone Air is incredibly simple and it looks pretty stripped down. I mean, I can't help but see some of the original iPhone in this, especially considering it does only have one camera on the back. But where I think the real significance of the iPhone Air sits is everything that Apple was able to pack inside of this look. It doesn't look complicated, but the engineering below the surface is just wild. Inside, most of the body on this phone is literally just the battery, but a new kind of high-density pack that Apple is putting in this product first. And while I was expecting the battery life on this phone to be awful, Apple says it has the same battery life as the iPhone 16 Pro, the phone I have in my hand. That's fine. I'm not sure why they didn't make that clear in the unveil video, because showing off a battery pack definitely scared a lot of people, but it seems like Apple's figured it out. In fact, good battery was so important that they basically optimized 100% of everything around that. So then where do you put the processor and everything else? Well, you actually put it in the camera bar on the back. It's in this tiny little area at the top that the cameras, the speaker, and even the silicon is located. It's a pretty cool layout trick, and one that Apple borrowed from the iMac, where pretty much the entire computer on that device is placed below the display here in that bottom bezel. So it's interesting to see Apple applying what they've learned on other products to this Air as well. The reason I'm highlighting this first is that I want to illustrate the iPhone Air is not just something Apple started work on 2 or 3 years ago. It really is the culmination of so much Apple engineering over the years, and that's especially attributed to the huge bet Apple made on building their own silicon, which began back in 2010 on the iPhone 4, where Apple didn't want to rely on any third parties for parts of the iPhone. They wanted to do it themselves to work on designs that just wouldn't be possible otherwise. Since then, we've seen Apple use their chips in things like Macs, but only recently have we seen Apple extend their ambitions to other parts of the iPhone, other silicon that they were previously outsourcing. And on the iPhone Air, we see 2 more chips come to fruition. The first chip is the Apple N1, and it's a new Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and Thread combo processor that handles all of these things more efficiently than what Apple was using before. It further boosts the battery and it improves the reliability of existing features like AirDrop. Second up is the C1X modem, which is a direct follow-up to their first in-house 5G modem, the C1. This one is now up to twice as fast and even more energy efficient. At the event, Apple just kind of glossed over both of these, but they are genuine breakthroughs by themselves, and I think it's telling that of all the times Apple could have introduced this stuff, they did so on the Air. It's because it was the only way the Air would be possible. That being said, calling this the iPhone Air makes it sound like it's way different than the Pro iPhones. And the more I've looked at this, I just don't really think that's the case. But more there just a second after a quick word from today's sponsor. Now, on my iPhone 17 Pro, I definitely want to keep it protected, and that's why I partnered up with ESR, who sponsored today's video. This is ESR's CyberTough magnetic case, and it offers the ultimate protection for your iPhone 17 Pro, featuring up to 23 feet of drop protection. I've run this through its paces and was very very impressed every time how it held up. On the back, there's a new zinc alloy camera guard that folds out into a stash stand, so you can set it up and enjoy content wherever you're at. And below that, MagSafe is incredibly strong, about twice the strength of the competition with 1500 grams of magnetic force. Plus, to protect your display, there's the new ESR UltraFit Amorite Pro screen protector. You just prep your phone and then pop it into this custom fit tray, and the installation is one step, pulling a tab, and it's also one of the most satisfying installs I've ever done. And the quality here is unmatched. It's accessory glass made by Corning, who has been Apple's screen supplier since the original iPhone. It has up to 10x the impact absorption compared to other screen protectors, and it looks clearer than ever. When you look at your phone, you can barely tell you have a screen protector installed. So protect your iPhone with ESR and use my link down below in the description to get these accessories for yourself. A huge thank you to ESR for sponsoring this one. Now let's get back to it. But the point I'm really trying to make on the iPhone Air is it doesn't just look cool on the inside and outside. It doesn't just take a lot of what Apple has learned. I think it's essentially a pro iPhone in disguise. For the first time ever, the screen is 120 Hz ProMotion on a device outside of a Pro iPhone, and it's just as good as a Pro model. The screen is 1-to-1 between the two. And the same is basically true for the chip inside as well. The A19 Pro chip just has a single GPU core less on the Air, but that's something you'll never notice in regular use. Even the front-facing camera that supports the new wide-angle selfies is something available on both the Air and the Pro at the same time. Like, obviously the iPhone Air isn't a Pro model, but I do find it interesting that it's priced like one. At $999, it's clear that internally, Apple does not see this as an entry-level iPhone. This is its own thing in its own category. And it's shown me that we're not that far off from an actual Pro model that looks like this. Because I don't know if you've noticed this trend within Apple over the past few years, but we are going full circle on everything getting thinner again. The new iPad Pro became the thinnest Apple product ever last year at 4.9 millimeters, with the Apple Watch Series 10 following shortly after, and it also shrunk down a bit. Now we have the thinnest iPhone ever, and there are a lot of rumors about the upcoming MacBook Pro and other things that are getting thinner as time continues. Like I said, I don't think the iPhone Air is just the future of the iPhone. I mean, it's obvious Apple can go in that direction. The Air is almost a Pro model already. I'm talking about everything that Apple makes is going to continue to get thinner and lighter as we go forward. And the cool thing this time is that we don't have these crazy compromises we had in the past. When that original MacBook Air was unveiled back in the day, it looked unlike any other product on the market. But what people don't talk about is that it was crazy slow and the reliability was awful. We're entering an era now where Apple's products are not just as thin as that, but even thinner, with the reliability and the power of their own silicon. This is an entirely new era, and that is why the iPhone Air is so exciting and so interesting. Listen, right now the iPhone Air isn't all the way there. It's not this perfect device without any compromises, but man, it is close, and it is way closer than I thought Apple would be able to hit in 2025. I'll say it, this feels like a big moment for Apple, and I think it's something we're gonna look back on a few years from now and point to the iPhone Air as the start of this new chapter for Apple industrial design. And I see it as a pretty cool full circle thing, that this is what they always wanted to make, just the slab of glass and nothing else. And man, I'm a sucker for it. This thing looks cool as hell, all right? That's really why I'm making this video. It looks cool. I want to buy it. I'm gonna buy it. It's a very cool product. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. Drop a like if you did. Hit subscribe for more, and hope you learned something new. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.